Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is a Roaming Prepper channel. I'm your host, Pete, and I want to thank you again for joining me for a situation report for this week, right? Man, I wasn't sure what format I was going to use, if I was going to go through the normal compilation of OSINT information, or if I was going to go off on a rabbit trail like I've done, right? Go down the rabbit hole like I've done before. I'm going to stick with the traditional situation report format, which is by regions of the world in alphabetical order, and then by countries within those regions in alphabetical order. Most of this is open source intelligence, or OSINT, so if the source is available, I will refer you to the source, like the Associated Press or Al Jazeera or whatever. If there is none, or if there's an individual giving an opinion, I'll cite that as well. So for those of you who are new, thank you for joining me. Those of you returning, thank you as well. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what I'm putting out there. If you don't, you can give me a thumbs down and tell me, I don't like this. You feel free to share it with your friends if you'd like. So starting with Africa, Somalia, EU naval force races to ship seized by pirates off the coast of Somalia. This is from the Associated Press. European Union naval force raced Friday to reach a Malta-flagged tanker held by pirates off the coast of Somalia, as officials warned of another attempted approach by the gang. So the tanker is under active attack, and there's nobody in the area to help. And these tankers are not armed. So their Navy is trying to get there while this big-ass tanker is maneuvering in the ocean, trying to get away from these pirates. It's been a while since we've heard these stories, so I guess they're getting bold, or they're getting hungry, or both. Take your pick. Sudan's paramilitary group agrees on a truce proposed by U.S.-led mediator group, Associated Press. The Rapid Support Force is a paramilitary group that has been at war with the Sudanese military for over 2 years, said Thursday has agreed to a humanitarian truce proposed by the U.S.-led mediator group known as the Quad. I don't know who that group is. But again, Sudan's been a hot mess for quite a while. Tanzania. Kenya urges Tanzania to protect its citizens amid post-election violence. Africa News. Kenya's government has called on Tanzania to guarantee the safety of its nationals caught in the unrest following last week's disputed presidential election. Moving to East Asia Pacific, Cambodia, Philippines, Vietnam. Typhoon barrels toward Cambodia after killing at least 193 in the Philippines and Vietnam. This is from BBC. Typhoon Kalmaegi has killed at least 188 people in the Philippines and 5 in Vietnam, according to the latest figures from the two countries. And then from Indonesia, 54 people injured in mosque blast in Jakarta High School. That's from BBC. Dozens of people have been injured in an explosion during Friday prayers at a mosque inside a high school complex in Indonesia's capital, Jakarta. Europe. Belgium, drone sightings halt flights at major European cargo airport in Belgium. This is from AP News. Flights out of one of Europe's biggest cargo airports was briefly suspended after drones were spotted. The incident that comes amid a spate of incidents around Belgium in recent weeks. Keep in mind, Belgium is also the headquarters of NATO. Sweden, traffic to resume at Sweden's second biggest airport after drone scare. That was interesting. From Reuters, a drone incident that prompted a sabotage investigation and halted traffic at Sweden's second largest airport ended on Thursday night. Now, moving on, Middle East and North Africa. Israel, Lebanon. Israel announces end of strikes on southern Lebanon. This is from the Middle East Monitor. The Israeli army has said on Thursday that it has completed its attacks on Hezbollah military targets in southern Lebanon following a series of strikes that were condemned by the UN peacekeeping forces. And then in Syria, UN Security Council lifts sanctions on Syrian President Ahmad Al-Sharaa. The UN Security Council voted on Thursday to lift sanctions on Ahmad Al-Sharaa, effectively removing the Syrian president from the Daesh and Al-Qaeda sanctions list in a move widely seen as signaling international recognition of this new post-Assad order. South and Central Asia, India, over 200 flights delayed in Delhi airport after glitch in air traffic system, in Reuters. More than 200 flights were delayed at Delhi airport, one of the world's busiest, after an air traffic control messaging system suffered a technical problem. There's been a lot of airport issues in the US and England and in other places. Pakistan, residents of Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa protest military shelling on civilian homes and mosques. That's the Hindustan Times. Residents of Kara Tahsil in Pakistan's Khyber, whatever that is, took to the streets on Thursday to protest against alleged shelling on their homes and a mosque in the area. The Western Hemisphere, how Argentina's Bribe Books case could take down an ex-president. That's incite crime. The largest corruption case in Argentina's history, known as the Bribe Books case, began its public trial on November 6th. The investigation targeted high-profile political and business figures that participated in pay-for-play and bribery scandals. Bolivia's new president, Rodrigo Paz, faces empty reserves and fractured Congress. He'll be inheriting an economy in turmoil and facing tricky negotiations in the legislature to pass reforms economists say are needed to stabilize finances. Mexico, organized crime believed involved in killing of popular Mexican mayor by teenage gunmen. Teenage attacker who shot and killed a popular mayor in western Mexico was a known methamphetamine addict, but organized crime was also involved in the assassination. This guy said he wanted to work with the US and Canada and take down the cartels, and he didn't even make it to election day. In Mexico and Peru, Peruvian Congress votes to declare Mexico's president persona non grata after asylum offer. Peru's Congress on Thursday declared Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum persona non grata after Mexico decided to grant asylum to former Peruvian Prime Minister Betssy Chávez in what Peruvian officials call repeated interference in the South American country. They also have a report, how to prepare for travel in a potential crisis zone. I'll have to probably do a separate video. Location of the U.S. Department of State travel advisories are rated from scale 1 to 4. Level 1 advising citizens to exercise normal precautions. 4 is the highest. And they kind of go through a listing of how that breaks down. I'm going to have to log into the software to actually get this report. I can give you a quick summary. Despite the risk, many individuals and organizations currently have operations or travel to higher risk countries. This report will provide tools to improve the personal security of those traveling. I'll give you a few highlights. Example, April 2023, clashes between the two rival factions in Sudan's military sparked the Sudanese civil war. Foreign travelers and aid workers were caught in the violence erupting through the capital. It gives some examples. Things to consider: your accommodations. Is your accommodation well lit? Are there camera security systems? How far from the main road are the gates? Does it have armed security? What floor is your room on? Too low could allow access from the street. Too high could prevent fire trucks from reaching you. Interesting. And this is something I actually asked for, like between the second and fifth floors, because I know most fire trucks will reach the fifth and the second pretty easily. It gives a bunch of other information. I might wind up, this is pretty detailed, so I might actually have to, it talks about your movement, your communication with people, how to evacuate, a go bag recommendation. So that's interesting. That could be a whole nother video right there. Ladies and gentlemen, things are very unstable, not just in the United States. They're unstable everywhere. And I just watched a very interesting TED Talk where the guy talks about the similarities between pre-World War I, pre-World War II, and what we see going on now. It wasn't just the politics of the countries. Within the countries, there were dynamics where communists were fighting fascists, were fighting right-wing, were fighting nationalists. They were all fighting each other. There was a rise of militia. There was a rise of political violence within the countries and with each other's politicians. which is partly the assassination of the Archduke, was the final step in a very long descent. And this particular guy thinks we were headed in the same way. So we can't control any of that. What we can do, make sure you have your food preps, your food, your clothing, plan your trips. Even if you're just going to the corner store, you're going to work, have a contingency plan. How do I get home if the main route is clogged up? How do I get home if I can't get to my vehicle? I have to go on foot or maybe a bike. Do I know good routes for that? How do I avoid conflict? The big intersections will attract problems. But you wind up in an alley, there won't be a lot of people, but if you get in trouble there, nobody can help you because nobody sees you. So there's a trade-off with going down main roads versus going down alleyways and little dirt paths. So plan these things out in advance so you don't get caught flat if something happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this week's Situation Report. I lost my little microphone, so I have to find it, so I have to yell at the phone right now. But in any case, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any thoughts on other ideas you have for prepping, if you have to travel either locally or internationally, whatever the travel may be, what are your thoughts on how folks can prepare? Throw it in the comments below, share with your community. Let's use this video as a place to collaborate with ideas. You guys be good, be safe, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you later.